In a previous episode, we made mention, or I made mention, ill-informedly, about Kim Jong-un eating some giant rabbits.
Yeah.
I think I said, like, it was
this.
some diplomatic gift, like, some random country had sent him some giant rabbit as this gift, you know, to use as a pet, and he ate it. I got so many things wrong about this. Not quite. If you open up the article there, I think it's smh.com.au. First of all, it was not Kim Jong-un, it was his dad, who was less fat.
Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong-il, yeah. So it makes it less funny, because there's something funny about, you know, old fatty leader eating the giant rabbit rather than his, you know, still
moderately plump.
Still plump in a country of starving people. Anyways, dad. And second to all of this, even more disappointingly, none of this probably even happened, Sam.
No,
I'm sorry
don't
to
tell
have
me
misled
that.
you. Yeah, it's disappointing.
It's the biggest disappointment of my week.
So essentially, there was some rabbit breeder, and he had these 12 rabbits, and he sent them to North Korea. So it wasn't just one giant rabbit. And the idea was that it was going to help with some food shortages. You know, it's North Korea.
Okay, all right.
So this guy's like, I'm going to send these giant rabbits to North Korea. We'll get them breeding, and we'll feed all of the starving North Korean people. Fantastic. However, at the last moment, North Korea's like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And so it turns out this guy, he was not a scientist or anything. He was just this farmer, this German farmer of these giant rabbits. And he was like, every news thing I read about this was just like, and then the guy said that, yeah, they ate them.
Oh.
That was it. It was kind of like, instead of
cultivating them
instead of cultivating them, he just accused them of eating them just because they seemed to not want to continue with this program.
Oh.
Which, I mean, even in North Korea, there's going to be like tons of bureaucracy, which means a program can't go forward. Anyways, German guy's like, no, they ate them. Simple as that. And then the embassy, which it doesn't, the way I've written it here is like the embassy said the rabbits were not dead. But in all the articles, it just suddenly seems like the embassy was like, we didn't.
No.
Exactly. Their response is almost like too sudden and just, yeah, it was a bit weird.
Licking
and it
their
all
lips
read a
like,
bit weird.
nope.
Yeah, like they did it. So maybe they did it. Bit weird. But then I got thinking, right? And I was like, why have I never heard of these giant rabbits? If these are the way that we're going to solve like world hunger, why aren't we all talking about eating giant rabbits, right? You want to know why?
Yeah, tell me.
Well,
I'm curious.
So it turns out the German guy might have just been a little bit mad, because the problem with these rabbits is they have to eat like a high protein food. And the problem is like eating high protein food. It's just like, well, why don't we just eat it ourselves?
Yeah.
Like if we have to feed the rabbits high protein food and then we eat the rabbits, we're just
massively
wasting.
expensive.
Right. It's like the whole thing about eating dogs. Did we talk about? I think we talked about this.
What
before.
about? Yeah,
It's
we talked about the food chain, where we are on the food chain.
Yeah, and I still disagree with you on that. Because you're
disagree
like,
with
we're
me
not
all
the
you
top
like.
of the food chain. And I'm like, look, man, how many lions have you eaten? How many lions have eaten? Well, lions are a bad example. How many snakes have eaten me? 0. How many snakes have I eaten?
0.
No, I ate
Have you
a
eaten
water
snake?
snake.
Can you?
Yeah.
Tasty?
In Vietnam.
Like chicken?
Yes. It kind of was like chicken. It's just in this weird soup.
Oh, God. Did you have to like eat off the bones?
It has the weird like central like spine bone thing.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
Was it served on the bone?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's crazy. Was it like a snake, or was it like bits?
No. It was like sliced up.
Sliced up bits of snake.
Yeah.
God, crazy.
It was weird. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to try eating dog, which is going to be enormously unpopular.
Oh, yeah. I think you've just closed us down, though.
Well, look, man.
I'm like, yeah.
I don't understand. Like, okay, yeah.
No, there's no winning that. Why? Okay, I'm more curious about why.
What it tastes
why?
like. I want to know what it tastes
You just want
like.
to know what the flavour is, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, and I'll eat all the other animals.
It's like there's...
I'll eat...
I wouldn't
the good
eat
example
dolphin.
is I've eaten goat.
Yeah, goat's delicious.
Yeah, but I think, you know, you go to a petting zoo, those goats are as friendly as dogs.
Oh, they are, but then...
And they're smart, and they know what's up.
You know, when I worked,
like a dog.
I worked for a little bit on a ranch, and we had to
Oh
be...
my God, you've done everything.
We had to be so careful. Yeah, I did 2 months on a ranch, and... we had to be so careful because when we were feeding the goats, we would sort of take the padlock off the gate, and then we'd open the gate, walk back in. Walk into the pen, close the gate, and then we'd put the padlock on and like hook it on. And you had to actually lock it, because if you didn't relock it, the goat would go in with his tongue. He'd push the lock away, like turn it round, and then flip the padlock out of the hook.
Dude,
and then he'd open the gate. You'd be like,
if you're happy to
"You're a clever goat." Zeus was his name,
dude. If you're happy to eat goats are smart and loyal and all of this stuff. I don't see. I think they're very similar to dogs.
For a later episode, I have a great story about a goat.
What's wrong with now?
I haven't got it with me.
Oh, you need notes, Sam.
Notes.
Okay, no problem. We'll do that in a later episode. But the reason we don't eat dogs mostly is not because of like ethical things. It's just inefficient because the grass is eaten by the cow, then the cow is eaten by the dog. There's just the extra step of loss of energy, which makes dogs super expensive.
Yeah, agreed. I also think Asia just isn't quite there with the extermination process of like with the killing process and everything like that.
But it's also just a super Western thing.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
I don't know. I think Asia, no offense, Asia, is in a completely like sort of different field in terms of animal rights.
Africa's similar. My dad grew up in Zimbabwe, and he's even to this day he's like, dogs are outside. Like, why would you have a dog in the house? That's crazy.
Really? Yeah.
Like, what's wrong? Like, really what's wrong with this country having dogs inside? And he's lived in the UK since he was like
adorable.
20 something. Yeah, but I mean,
they're just so pretty.
That's a Western thing.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah.
And in other countries, they'll eat them, or they'll have them as, work animals, or just outside, or wild. Okay. The whole point is I still think this whole story is just, it's a crazy German farmer who just seemed to be like, let's send these giant rabbits, and there was no point whatsoever sending them to North Korea.